Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here today to talk about how to shift outcomes using love. Welcome. This is the channel where we explore the outer reaches of human consciousness and talk about things like emotional mastery, extended human capabilities, advanced manifesting, and more. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm excited to talk about this today. I recently did a talk this week at one of the chambers of commerce about courage, and I want to kind of tie it into manifesting. So there is this great show on Discovery Plus called I Was Prey. Now, this show is pretty much the worst situation that any human being can get themselves into, besides maybe drowning or catching on fire. But these individuals are recounting a story where they got attacked by a large predator and they are essentially being eaten alive. And so the stories are so compelling, and they're just recounts, right? The person is just recounting their story in all the gory details, and there's some actor portrayal, a little bit of that. And I binge watched this. When I first saw the show, I was just completely captivated by it because everyone's stories followed the same pattern. And the pattern was this, that the person initially got overcome by this animal. Their sense of safety got ripped away. They felt the bones in their head crunching. They felt, their arm bones or their leg bones shattering. They saw their own blood on the ground. Their sense of connection was ripped away, right? They were typically either alone out somewhere in nature, or the person they had been with had run away in fear. So they were utterly alone in dealing with this creature. And then their sense of self-esteem was also kind of ripped away from them because they all described, trying to hit the animal on the nose, fighting with all of their power and their force, but it seemed as if it was not affecting the animal because the animal was so strong and just overpowering them. And what happened was all of them having these three kind of, you could talk about them as hierarchy of needs. When we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of safety being at the bottom, self-esteem, connection, the only place they could go was up, right? The only perspective that they could take from that point, having these really core human needs ripped away from them, was to assume a more transcended or expansive point of view. And what happened was each one of them did that. They actually reached for love, which technically is kind of higher up on the pyramid of Maslow's needs. I call them the perspectives, the human perspectives of the ones kind of closer up to the top, but that we're really juggling all the time are exploration, love, and purpose. And all of them reached for love. And then the story, and how that manifested in their story, was that they talked about, I thought I was going to die. I was dying. My body was getting crushed, crumbled, chewed, whatever. And then I remembered my child, my partner, my mom or dad, my brother or sister, someone who meant something to them. And they tapped into the expansiveness of that love relationship. And they decided they were able to anchor to that because it was bigger than them, right? When we love someone, it creates, and I'm not saying it could be romantic, it could be platonic, familial, whatever that strong love connection is, it feels bigger than us, right? Because not only because there's another person involved who's reciprocating that love with us, but we perceive it as being larger than us. And so they tapped into that bigger essence, something that was larger than them. And that's when they kind of were like, I thought about my kid and I don't want my child to live without a father or a mother. And that expansiveness, when they tapped into that, the situation suddenly shifted miraculously. Either someone suddenly rushed in to help, or they found a window in the animal attacking them where they were able to get away, or they suddenly came up with a strategy where they were, they they tried a different strategy in that moment, their brain actually started working differently because they had moved out of those self-protective states where they were just trying to protect themselves, right? But then suddenly, as they took on this expansive point of view of moving into a love space that encapsulated a concept bigger than just the person, than their body, than who they were, and that allowed the situation to shift in the moment to where they then survived, amazingly, miraculously. And so I want to dive deeper into this concept, and because there are other states of being up there that we can assume when we want to shift an outcome, because often when we look at our circumstances and things don't seem to be going our way, right? We often encounter fear. Now, fear is kind of like a black bear. And when we encounter a black bear in the woods, we need to actually become larger. So the point is, you raise your arms, you project your voice, you become bigger than you are. However, our instincts, I think, are not to do that. Our instincts when we encounter a bear in the woods, is to curl up in a ball and play dead, right? To contract, to protect ourselves, to move into those other states, those self-protective or preservation states of, protecting, guarding our safety, guarding our self-esteem, guarding our connection with other people. Are we going to be accepted or rejected? And so we want to remember, fear is like a black bear. When you encounter that fear in a situation, when things don't seem to be going your way, and that fear kind of rises up, we want to get bigger. We want to get bigger. Raise your arms, project your aura, move into an expanded state. And we're going to stick with love today. I'm going to ask you a few questions to help you evoke, who can you think of to help you move into these love states. And moving into that expanded state where the fear then kind of wanders off like the bear. You get big, you project yourself, you expand, and then the fear bear wanders off because he's like, oh, okay. And then you're able to either, your behavior changes because you're now able to either move forward with whatever you were fearing doing, right? Because a lot of times we fear taking giant leaps forward in life. We fear making big moves. We fear following our heart because we're afraid if we follow our heart and do what we want to do, we're going to lose something. Like we're not going to be safe. We're going to get rejected. We're going to not be able to afford, if I follow my heart and start the business I want, I won't be able to make money. I won't be able, we start to contract again into these safety needs, these safety perspectives. We want to get big. When we feel fear, think of it like a black bear coming upon you in the woods. You just need to outlast that fear, be bigger than the fear for a few minutes while the fear is around, while the bear's around, until it kind of ambles off. Because it'll be like, oh, okay, I got bored and I wandered off. I'm going to go eat some berries over here. So we don't have to be fearless all the time, just when it matters, just when we feel like, oh, we're really inspired to go do something bigger with our lives, to make a big change, to take a leap of faith, to trust that this situation, even though it looks like it's going to hell, is going to turn out in our favor. And that's when it's great to expand. Expand. When the fear comes around, expand for those moments. When it comes around again, expand. And we practice doing this enough that we just will naturally start to spend more time in these expanded states where we feel less and less fear, because we can't be expanded and contracted at the same time, right? We can't be feeling love or exploration or purpose, and I'll talk about in a second, those expanded states, and be contracting at the same time, right? You can't physically raise your arms and play dead at the same time. So we have to pick one and do it and give ourselves over to it completely in our perspective. And that is when situations shift. So let's go back to love. I want you to close your eyes for a second and just think about, I'm going to ask you these questions. Think about them. Just allow whoever or whatever pops into your mind to be there. Just kind of self-reflection. Who do you love so much you'd do anything for? Who do you love so much you'd lay your life down for that person? Who do you want to make proud? Who do you identify with? What group do you identify with and love working with? This is more for my entrepreneurs or people who have a role of service. Who do you love serving? Who do you love helping? Because you identify with their story. You're like, I was you once. I understand what it's like. So you can go ahead and open your eyes. It doesn't have to be just one person. It can be a group of people. Like, who do you really love? Who do you love being a part of? What group do you love being a part of? Or when you encounter them, like maybe it's another Star Wars fan, you guys really nerd out together. That somewhere in you is a love that is bigger and more expansive than your fear. And typically we can identify with it in a relationship, an existing relationship, a past relationship. Maybe it's someone you love who's passed away and who didn't get the chance to do what you're about to do, to start a business, to, or quit the job, or whatever big move you're afraid to make in life. You're feeling that fear and you want to move forward, or you're worried about the outcome of a situation, and you're staring that bear of fear and the fear bear in the eyes. Find the courage for that person. Whoever was popping into your head, or if a couple people were, you can leverage any one of those relationships. And when you feel the fear rise up in the situation, because you're worried about the outcome, you're afraid of how things are going to end up. Remember, fear is a black bear. We lay down and play dead with grizzly bears or brown bears, but with black bears, if you encounter them, you're always supposed to expand, get bigger, fight back. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lie down. Fear is a black bear. Raise your arms, project yourself, move into, as you're feeling the fear, the story of fear, the feeling of fear, think about that person, think about that love, and say, I'm gonna do this for my grandma who passed away, or my friend who passed away. I'm going to do this for that, for my mom, for my dad, for my brother, for my sister, for my whoever means something to you, because that love is bigger than the fear. And say, you know what, I'm going to do this for this person, or I'm going to be brave for this person, or I'm going to feel that love that I have with this person and tap into that expansive, like, I am someone, I mean something to someone, and I am going to do this for them. Or for that group of people, the people that need help, that need my help. If you're afraid to do something in your career or in your business, think about the people you're going to help. So tap into love, because love will shift the outcome. As soon as even just the adventure, you could love, we can tie an exploration with that. If you love adventure, if you're a really adventurous person, think about the situation that may look like it's not going well. Be like, whoa, this is an adventure, and I'm going to embrace the love of this adventure. Be like, wow, I wonder how this is going to turn out, right? That immediately shifts your point of view, and in doing that, the situation will change. Because you'll either move past that fear bear, you're going to run past the fear bear, and be able to do that next action move that you want to do, that you're afraid to do, or the situation is going to shift because you have shifted your perspective. That's what happens, right? When we shift our point of view, the setting's going to change. Something is going to change. So when we change us, it ripples out into our reality, which is us. Our reality is always us. So I hope this was helpful to you. Let me know what you thought. Drop a comment below. And remember, fear is a black bear. Expand into love, choose love, leverage love. There's a love inside of you that is bigger than fear always. So when you face the fear, Tap into the power and the strength and the fury of that love, the ferocity of that love. And that bear will run off and you'll be able to do what you need to do or endure the situation or get a different perspective on it enough that it will shift. The circumstances will shift. So let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.